Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today I would be talking about the Akidah and Islam. Here in this presentation, the material is based upon the five journals that I took from the Google Scholar. Later on, you would be able to access to those articles which have been already published, and you can study further. I would give you the references later. Let's begin our today's topic. The topic is Akidah in Islam. So, the first article is about the learning Akidah in the Quran perspective. Well, in this article, it describes the progress and the decline of the nation are rooted the alignment between behavior and the laws of the Allah. As we all know that in the Quran, it is already mentioned all the guidance related to the life, how someone should live their life according to the Quran. So, those laws lead the human towards the progression as well as towards if someone is not following those rules, he will obviously go towards decline, whether that is a society, that is a person, or maybe a nation. Whatever that system is, it will go towards incline if they follow the rules and the regulation of the Quran. On the other hand, if they don't want to follow the rules and the principles of Quran, then obviously they would go towards decline. So I already find out the main points of the article. The article were discussing about the faith education foundation. Well, faith-based education shapes a Muslim. Well, if someone has a faith on a divine Quran and the divine revolution, it's not only guide the someone towards the progression in his life. Well, its aim is to shape in a human, shape in the human's potential, and fostering the moral and its spiritual power, which led him to growth intellectually, morally, ethically. So these all growths are correlated with the foundation or the principle that are in Quran Majid. Well, in the second Islamic learning model, the Quran-based learning model emphasizes holistic education addressing global challenges. It's not for the limited time as the books before Quran Majid. There were a lot of books, like three books were there, Torah, Zabur, Injil. But those books were for a limited time of interval. But I would say the Quran is for till the day of the judgment. It's for the worldwide, and it have the ability and the capacity to address the global challenges. After that, there is Akida as a core belief. Akida strengthen conviction, ensuring personal and other Islamic practices. So, this is what we learn from Akida and the integration of modern content, elective model hormones, Quranic principle with contemporary education needs. Obviously, like if someone has the Akida and if someone has the spiritual power on having a faith on divine revolution, obviously it will help him to strengthen his conviction, letting him to do its personal growth. So these were the main points that the article were discussing about. After that, in a second article, an overview in the history and contemporary world. So in this article, it was discussing about an overview of in the history what was happened and the contemporary right now in the world. Islam is not confined to personal belief or isolated rituals. Rather, it is complete system revealed by God that guides all facts of life, including social, economic, political, and spiritual realms. Like as we all know that is Quran is not a book that address a specific time or specific people. It has the ability that we discussed before to address economically, politically, spiritually, whatever there is. Apart from that, it have the divine laws which ensures the harmony and fulfillment of the life's purpose. Of course, there is a faith, equality, equity, and accountability. These all things are in the Quran. If someone is following the Quran, obviously there would be the fairness, obviously there would be the equity and equality, accountability, everything that can lead to an ideal and harmonic society. So what and where these all things come from? Obviously, if someone has the Akidah or a divine revolution, on a divine book, on a Holy Quran, obviously these principles come from that. So it has, to conclude, we would say that it has the global wise guideline that led them to practice their life balance and letting them to grow spiritually and be more ethical and moral. So the main points, including the introduction, the foundation of Islamic civilization. Islamic civilization golden age was rooted in the moral, ethical, and spiritual development of individuals, particularly the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and the early generation of Muslims who were directly or indirectly educated by him. So these things were discussing in this article. The role of competition in goodness. The Quran emphasizes competition in virtuous deeds and selfishness as exemplified by the Prophet and his companions. These values form the ethical basis of Islamic civilization, distinguishing it and from modern materialistic pursuits that decrease moral. Well, what we understand from this article is that Quran emphasizes the competition. What does this mean? Well, as we all this were discussing about from the beginning, that the Quran has the rules, the principles, which the society, the person, or the nation should follow those. If they are following, if someone is contributing a good deed towards the society, obviously he should be rewarded so that his work should be appreciated. Apart from that, uh, if someone is not following the rules, if someone is regulating, so obviously he should be punished. Is these things are mentioned in the Quran as the haram and halal. So these things are there. If uh, the life if someone wants to make the life balance, he should be take care of these things. So apart from that, there is the civilizations in the European, how they influenced by the Quran. Well, right now we all see that all the international brands, I would be talking about like Nike. If you know about Nike, this is worldwide trending, top class marketing brand. They are coming towards halal marketing. What does this mean? They are learning the things from the Quran. That's what is the benefit of these things. That's why they are coming towards Quran halal marketing. They keep in the mind what is the need of the Muslims. So that's why in that way they lead their company. So this is the thing that Europeans learn from the Quran. Third, role of greed in the student behavior. As there was a survey lead in the high school, 33.5% to the moral of the students studying Islamic education in international secondary school. It also demonstrates that when the variable that is knowledge of Akidah increases by a unit of score of student moral will show an increase of zero point 0.6 units. Well, there was a survey lead at the secondary school whether studying of Akida at school level affects the student or not. So Akida, that what we learn from Islamiyat that's related to the Quran. It's correlated with the Quran, all these things. So that's why this the survey was carried out at the secondary school. So what was the finding of that survey? Obviously, they found that the Muslim student that was acknowledged and they have the knowledge of Akida, they have the better motivation towards learning, and if they have better grades even towards as compared to those who are not learning Akida in their high school. So, because as we discussed in our previous articles, that learning Akida leads someone to develop its spiritual power, because having the belief on divine revolution, divine book is something which is really rewarding for everyone. So it leads the student to be motivated and more welcoming towards learning new things and having the high grades as compared to those who are not interested in learning Akida. What is the significance? As I mentioned, the significance of learning Akida, it's let the students to strengthen their spiritual power, which leads them to learn qualitatively, and their grades and their outputs would be so amazing as compared to others. Reconciling human rights and Islam. An Akida centered perspective. This article were talking about the human rights which are correlated with the Akida right now. As we all see that in the whole world, all were really focused about the human rights. Human rights. Wherever there is a war, they just speak up their voice. They, stand for their human rights. So, if you want to implement the human rights everywhere in the world, you would be able to learn the Akida. If you have Akida and if you have the faith, obviously it will lead for the formation of an ideal society. So that's why if you are really centered about the human rights, so it's there is, I would say, Islam is a real uh, thing that will help develop the human rights. Well, it highlights how the inclusion of Islam in this course presents unique challenges. While many scholars align with either universalism or relativism, others seeks a middle ground to reconcile the difference. This study adopts the Akida-based approach and analyzes the issue through Islamic creed rather than the conventional third-person perspective. The author argued that neither universalism nor relativism fully aligns with the Islamic principle. Instead, they purpose Islamic universalism as a correct path rooted in the Islamic Aqidah. This concept emphasizes a universal framework based on Islamic teachings, offering a distinct perspective on human rights. A study critiques existing frameworks for their incompatibility with Islamic law. Well, this is the last article that I would be talking about. Islamic education is a strengthening of Akidah and Akhlaq. Islamic education will adaptation to society. Islamic education must embrace critical and innovative thinking. Well, to develop a personality of someone, he should be able to present its respect towards that what we call akhlaq, and akida means the faith. So if someone has to have the innovative thinking and it wants to improve its critical thinking, he would be able to learn the akida, because having the spiritual power can lead to have these things. Strengthening a core values, the teaching of Akida and Akhlaq are vital in equipping the younger generation. Of course, in this globalization world, we have been influenced by many things, but we need to be centered by the Quran that teach us what we need to learn, what we have to do. So this is the best guideline and the best book for now and forever till the day of the judgment. So, human resource development, ensuring the availability of skilled, acknowledgeable, and competent educators is crucial for fostering the moral and spiritual development of students in the transformative area. So, this is the end of my presentation. So, these are the articles that I was talking about. Islamic education as a strength of Aqidah and Akhlaq, and these all thing the references are here. You can just search on the Google Scholar if you would like to talk study further. Thank you so much for listening and being with me for till the end of this presentation. If you have any query, so let us and join us. You can ask me on my email. Thank you so much, and see you in another video. Allah Hafiz.